live from New York. It's a show that might switch over to their spring hairpiece. I just don't love this right now.
No.
It's a little early. I might switch it over.
Why does your natural hair look like a toupee?
Because I'm part skunk. It's just the way it
No,
goes.
but it's not
right
the
there.
color. It's the
I don't know.
bridge.
This is my spring. This is my fall toupee. I'm just gonna blast right.
Good
back.
to have you
Now,
back.
you know
I'm happy
everybody's
to
going
be
to think
back.
you have a toupee.
I would love that. Marv Albert, one of the best broadcasters of all time.
Don't out
Oh,
everybody.
spoiler alert.
Howard Cosell.
Me? 3-3. Starting with an MVP candidate versus a quarterback who has not thrown a pass all year. Drake versus Jarrett Stidham. QB coach Jordan Palmer, who has worked with Stidham, says that optimistic is an understatement, Brew, when it comes to the Broncos' backup. In fact, he's just as good as Drake Maye, ceiling-wise. Brew, are you buying that Jarrett Stidham can keep up with Drake Maye, who might win the MVP?
Look, I respect Jordan Palmer,
It's a take.
but that statement is asinine. Asinine, period. I mean, I get it if you were to say, if Jarrett Stidham brings his A game and plays his best, and Drake, who struggled at times in these playoffs, continues to be play his C game, C plus, whatever, then it might be close. But to say that Jarrett Stidham can play as well as Drake Maye at his best, that is ridiculous. We know what Drake Maye is at his best, a top 2 MVP candidate. Is Jarrett Stidham?
Well, I haven't seen him. So
Look, he's 29 years old. He's been in the league 6 years. He's had 4 starts in those 6 years and 3 of them losses. And the games and Nick, you may have had this. I'm sure you got some type of graphic. What did he say? He cooked the Chiefs?
Well, and also the Chiefs, of course, made the Super Bowl because they make Super Bowl almost every year.
Yeah.
Then that Niners team didn't make the Super Bowl. They made it the following year. But go ahead. And
in those 2 games against the Niners and the Chiefs, he had 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Now, he did play well against the Niners.
Against the
threw for
Niners,
over
he
300
played
yards, 3 touchdowns. But he also had 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
His best game of his NFL life, he had 2 interceptions.
Also, to be fair, it was his first start.
Yeah,
First start of his NFL life, and it was a really good game. Against the Chiefs, I don't know why.
The Chiefs, he had a 76 passer rating, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
And that's cooking them or whatever term he used. Look, I'm not saying Drake may struggle because Denver is a great defense. Correct. And, you can have a bad game.
Sure.
But Jarrett Stidham, to say his A game is similar to Drake Maye's A game is ludicrous.
Well, honestly,
he wouldn't be a bench warmer if that was the case.
It would mean that the Broncos had made a grievous error all year long.
Yes.
Because, and again, I've been very complimentary of Bo Nix, how he played in that game over the weekend because he deserved it. But if you have a guy who can play at Drake Maye's level, then maybe when you were eking out wins against the Jets and the Raiders, you would have thought about going to him. Now, context here. Jordan Palmer's always loved this guy. He's always loved him. When the Patriots drafted him, he talked about how they have basically an heir apparent to Brady, which some good-looking people with not good-looking hair pieces on TV thought the same thing when they were talking about Jared the Javelin Stidham 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
It also is true that if you're a backup quarterback, you are at times a prisoner of your circumstances as far as getting the opportunity. I'll give you, I think, a perfect example. Had Jordan Love not gotten hurt this year, nobody would be like, man, Malik Willis is going to be a starter for someone this year. He got hurt. Malik stepped in, and so
very fair.
There is.
But nobody's also going to come out and say, if Malik Willis plays to his best, he can match Caleb Williams. If they both are at their best.
I agree. I agree with you. I think this is obviously hyperbolic and a little ridiculous. I also think that there is the possibility that Stidham has a little more upside than your typical backup quarterback because Sean Payton did, for one reason or another, highly prioritize him. It was his first free agent signing, and then after he didn't get to play really at all those first 2 years, played a couple starts, He then gave him 2 years, $12 million this past offseason. He's wanted him there. The one thing he does have to hang his hat on is that game against the Niners. They lose 37-34 in overtime in your first career start, and he's like, hey, I've been right here. He just hasn't had opportunities since then. But to me, KW, the way this happens, where Stidham and Maye play similar games on Sunday, is the route to that is not going to be Jarrett Stidham plays unbelievably in the AFC Championship game when he hasn't played a regular season game in 3 years. It's that the Broncos defense gets to Drake Maye.
Right.
And so keep up with is, maybe phrased wrong. Do I think it's on the board that Jarrett Stidham and Drake Maye have roughly equivalent games on Sunday? I do think that's on the board because I think Drake Maye has struggled in certain areas this postseason.
He's been dropping the ball.
And so,
he's facing the best pass rush.
Right. So, he's been sacked 10 times. He's thrown 2 picks. He's had 6 fumbles.
The 1 pick he's thrown.
One was a Hail Mary. That's fine. But fair enough. That was the football god saying.
Was it an
more of those?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
He could have taken a knee.
It was end of half. Yeah. That's fair. So he's thrown 1 pick, had 6 fumbles, so not all of which are lost fumbles. And so you might not like this graphic about turning the ball over and fumbling in your first 2 playoff starts, but that's what it is. It's the most ever. And most interceptions and fumbles in your first 2 career playoff games. When you add to it that you're going up against now this Broncos defense that didn't make its name this season forcing turnovers oddly, but did make its name hitting the quarterback and getting to the quarterback. That's the path for Stidham and Maye to have similar game grades.
Yeah.
I believe not that Stidham cooks and everyone after this game is like, man, the Broncos can trade Jarrett Stidham for a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, it's him playing clean. He hasn't played a lot of clean games, though.
Drake?
Stidham.
Oh, he hasn't played a lot of games.
Played, period.
Right, but when he has, he got 8 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah.
We ran the numbers. Josh and I went into the lab. Drake on the year, 4,500 yards, 387 completions. Counting the playoffs, 39 total touchdowns if you count the rushing as well. 16 and 3. Stidham, Josh, this is right? We double-checked this. 0. 0 for everything.
For
just
everything.
a 0. I actually think I understand the theory that Drake can struggle because the Broncos defense is so excellent. That being said, the Patriots might have the better defense in this game. Regular season, the Patriots defense, who nobody really talked about, we allowed 18.8 points per game. The Broncos defense, which everyone talks about, allowed 18.3.
Remember, they played a tougher schedule.
Yeah, but
they both played very weak schedules.
Yeah, it was 32nd.
Historically,
You think? I think New England's defense is very good. I don't think it's as good as Denver's.
They're not. The rushing defense this year, the Patriots, no one talks about our rushing defense. We did allow 10 more yards per game than the Broncos defense. The pass defense of the Broncos, oh my gosh. Patrick Surtain, we did allow 6 more yards per passing game.
But hold on,
I got one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've been getting better with Milton Williams and Spillane back, and the Broncos have been getting worse. This playoffs, 156 passing yards per game we've averaged, 67 rushing yards, 9.5 points. How have the Broncos done? Opponents' third down percentage.
In the playoffs?
First 11 games, last 7. First 11 games, they were the best in the league. Last 7, they are 26. Josh Allen was able to convert a bunch. Trevor converted a bunch.
They also forced 4 turnovers on 5 turnovers against them. And that, hold on. This is I have 2 things here. One is, I will concede that of everyone on this table, you watched the Patriots the closest. You told us going into the playoffs and going into each playoff game, you think the defense might be a little overrated.
I did. I was shocked.
You thought that you think the defense. You talked about young Tyson that they can punch, but they can't take a punch.
I was dead wrong.
So, were you?
I was dead wrong.
Hold on. Were you dead wrong, or did C.J. Stroud melt down? I don't know.
We've had two games. Herbert melted down and C.J. Stroud melted down.
Yeah, it's a very good defense. It's just not as good as Denver.
And the other thing when you're talking about the stats, the stat you left out is what made Denver a great defense and what you guys struggled at.
Right.
What?
The sacks.
Sacks. Getting to the opposing quarterback. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You guys weren't great at that. They were the best in the league by a lot.
Oddly, we're good at it now.
No, you've been being. I personally don't think
down offensive
being
line
good at
with
it
the
the
Chargers.
last 2 weeks mean. Just
And
like
then
I don't
CJ
think that this
struggled.
means all of a sudden Drake Maye is going to be the most fumblingest player in league history because of a bad 2 weeks of ball security. I don't think 2 good pass rush weeks makes you guys all of a sudden a great pass rush. I don't think you do either. And the Broncos objectively have a great pass rush. So I mean, this is your own rationale about your own defense that I'm just spitting back.
I didn't think we were going to be able to easily get to Herbert and easily get to C.J. Stroud, and it was happening again and again and again. So I'm just not. Look, 30 to the Bills.
That's the Bills.
Okay, we're better than the Bills. So we have.
But you didn't have a better offense than the Bills this year, did you? Right?
No.
I don't think you scored more points per
you
game than the Bills.
I'll
did.
check. Josh,
I think
can you
scored
check that?
28.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Bills
They
had a higher
scored more, I
range
believe.
of scoring offense.
Okay, well, 30.
Yeah.
30 to the Bills. The Chargers rested. The Chiefs scored 13. The Jags scored 34. The Packers scored 26. I'm not as afraid of this Broncos defense as everybody else is. And I thought that Drake would get more respect. Yeah, he dropped the ball a few times, but he did throw 3 touchdowns on this Texans defense that if we would have lost that game, the Texans defense was on the board of being an all-time great defense.
So can I? You keep saying that. I just want to say this: that nobody was saying that the Texans were already a historically great defense.
If they
the
won
discussion
the
we had was if they won the round they lost and this coming round and the next round, then they would have been. So I thought the Texans had an excellent defense, and I do think Drake Maye deserves credit for it. Was in that game, it felt like a lot of A's and F's. Like it was like the good plays were great and the bad plays were turnovers or near turnovers, and he deserves credit for sticking with it. But you are using what we were saying the Texans defense had a chance to be had they beaten you guys and then won the next 2 rounds, and saying that's what the Texans defense was. They were not a historically great defense. They had an opportunity to be had they completed the run.
Because Drake Maye got in their way.
I disagree with
Stroud
that.
got
I disagree with that.
He was more.
I think the Texans. I don't think Drake Maye felt he played a great game against the Texans. I don't think you felt he played a great game against the Texans.
He threw 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdowns. No other quarterback has thrown 3 touchdowns against the Texans defense.
He had
everybody
bad
else
moments,
put
but he
in the
made up for
teens.
him with big moments.
We had 21 offensive points.
I think he had the most touchdowns and the most fumbles of any player
Definitely
against the Texans
fumbling the
defense
ball
this year.
But
that's what would worry me against the Broncos. There's not a lot of paths for you guys to lose this game. You're playing a quarterback who has 4 career starts. You're a near touchdown favorite. The path for you guys to lose this game is Drake Maye strip sacks. That's what I'm saying. And I think that is.
I have to say it's on the board. Josh got in my ear. Our offense slightly better than the Bills this year.
In points or
slightly.
Yards?
Josh, points.
Wow.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford, ready for a matchup. Number 3 against the Seahawks, who just put on a historic performance against Brock. Fewest points allowed versus a divisional rival this century. 22 Eagles had 7 against the Giants, or kept the Giants to 7, and the Colts kept the Texans to 7. Only one problem. Last matchup versus Stafford, he threw for 457 yards. Who do you trust more here, the Rams offense or the Seahawks defense?
Well, first of all, let me say, of the units on these teams, I trust Sam Darnold the least. All right, of all of them. All right, so I will throw that out there. These 2 is close. I know the Rams in that Week 15 game had 500-plus yards, 37 points. They ate up this Seattle defense. But my answer is still Seattle.
Wow.
When they played in the first matchup this season, they gave Stafford some trouble. And he played fine, but they didn't light him up. He had 130 yards passing and like an 80-something passer rating. So they held him in check. But this defense, I mean, they stop the run. They're top 10 against the run. They're top 10 against the pass. They're number 1 in points allowed. So I think that and on top of them having played great, maybe I'm skewed because of what they've done to the 49ers. We've seen them play the 49ers so often recently, and they've held them down. But also, Nick, is that the Rams their offense and Stafford aren't really playing great in this postseason. Stafford's got, I think, 3 touchdowns, a pick, 80 passer rating in the playoffs, in the 2 games, total. So he hasn't really been great. And these are 2 defenses, Carolina and Chicago, that are in the bottom half of the league defensively, and he still hasn't lit them up. And so of the 2 units, I'm not saying the Rams can't win, but of these 2 who I trust most, I think Seattle, and their defense has been playing better than the Rams offense has lately.
So I evidently think Stafford played a lot better against Carolina than you do. Against Carolina, on the road, he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw 1 pick. I thought the Bears game, he didn't play great, and then they made the plays at the end. I think he had 0 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in the Bears game. But 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first playoff game. And my answer is the Rams offense because of Stafford. Because in each game this year, for me, it felt like against the Seahawks, Stafford played the type of game he needed to play given what Seattle was doing. Now, I know it's weird because...
You're talking about the second
matchup? In both games. So the first matchup, Sam Darnold is turning the ball over left and right. We can show you Stafford's numbers. And it seemed like Stafford's like, okay, don't turn the ball over and we're going to be fine. And again, that's not a good game. I'm not acting like that's a good game. But can he have a big game against Seattle? Well, the next game, when Seattle's moving the ball, he had 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's weird because there's such disparate games, Brew. Yeah. But his numbers this year against the Seahawks are kind of just his numbers for the year. Yards per attempt, about the same. Yards per game, actually higher. Completion percentage, considerably lower, but team points per game, damn near identical. Passer rating, very, very close to identical. And so I don't think Seattle is going to be able to entirely hold the Rams in check. I don't think a blowout for Seattle I don't think a blowout for either team, to be honest, is on the board.
Definitely
barring a Darnold meltdown is the only way. But we saw a Darnold meltdown in the first matchup, and it wasn't a blowout there. Right. And so if you're asking me, if the scenario, like at its base level, if the scenario is the Seattle Seahawks are up 4, and Matt Stafford has the ball with 3 minutes left, who will I believe is going to come through? My answer is Matt Stafford. So if that's what I believe, then I trust the Rams offense more.
Fair. We're going to get to Lamar, so we're going to put a pin in this. But since 1990, this is from Kevin Patra, the number 1 scoring offense, 0-4 versus the number 1 scoring defense, if it's conference championship or Super Bowl.
Wow.
All right, bold prediction time. Jeremy Fowler compiling bold predictions, Brew, from execs, coaches, and scouts. Again, they're bold predictions, so it's always
a little out there.
Yeah, leans towards the sensational. That being said, Lamar to Vegas. Let's roll the dice. Gambling reference. Fowler quoting an anonymous personnel person. It just seems like there's been some consternation there with Lamar and the Ravens, and this would be the ultimate Mark Davis move. I'm not even convinced everybody with Vegas would be on board, but it would instantly solve their quarterback problems. Okay. Should Ravens consider a Lamar trade?
So here's what I think. I think trading for Lamar would
the Raiders side. Okay.
You're probably not going to like either opinion I have on this. I think for the Raiders would be foolhardy because I think as evidenced by, and I was obviously dead wrong about them, how many holes they have on the roster and the fact that I don't look at Lamar as a guy who in 7 years is still going to be MVP caliber guy.
So you don't think next year he'll play at an MVP level?
No, I said in 7 years.
Oh.
No.
7 years from now.
7 years from now, not year 7 for him.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the Raiders are not. I think if you put Patrick Mahomes fully healthy on the Raiders, they're not prepared to win a Super Bowl. You know, I don't think they are.
They're not win now.
They're not win now, and I think Lamar's window is probably narrower than maybe some other people think. And obviously, he's going to be super expensive. Right. So for the Raiders, I'd rather just rebuild my number 1 pick.
Sure.
But if I were the Ravens and the Raiders called me and said, we will give you Max Crosby and the number 1 pick, which then also gives you an extra $50 million in cap space over the next few years, the equivalent of, that's trading Lamar for the equivalent of like 5 first-round picks, because Crosby's worth 2 and the number 1 overall pick, we know from the Bryce Young trade that what it's worth. If I'm Baltimore in a bit of a reset with a new head coach, and to me, that is the type of trade that I would say, I wonder if that's not the best path to us winning another Super Bowl.
And you're drafting Mendoza?
Drafting Mendoza. Yes, I should have said that. I'm drafting Mendoza. Yeah. I have Crosby. I have all this extra cap space. And we're on that the rookie quarterback scale where we can load up the rest of the team around him. And I'm not having to set a new NFL record in contract for Lamar. That would be very interesting to me.
That's been how they won their Super Bowls.
Yes.
They got 2, Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. And they had phenomenal
teams,
and
they hadn't paid those quarterbacks.
Right. And we were talking off air yesterday, a lot of the teams that are left, Stafford's obviously getting paid. Darnold's not making a ton.
Nope.
And then you got 2 guys on their rookie contracts.
Stidham makes more than Drake right now.
Yeah.
Right. But no. As my co-host, old co-host on the Odd Couple radio show, Rob Parker would say, no way, no how. Nick, I got a superstar quarterback at 29 years old, still in his prime. Yes, last year he had some bad games. Certainly you can put those on injuries. Yeah. And the last time we saw him when we think he was healthy against Pittsburgh, he played really well. Yep. So, and the thing is, the hardest thing to get in the league, it's not the only path to victory as we're talking about, but the hardest thing to get is a superstar quarterback. And in fact, the Ravens have never had one outside of Lamar. In their 30-year history, they've never had one. Teams of Cleveland, have they ever had one since Otto Graham? Like, it doesn't happen easily, and you've got one, and you also have a team that's built to win now. Like you said, a reset, like whoever they hire as coach, the charge is win the Super Bowl this year.
But that's because you have Lamar.
And Derrick Henry, and you still got some other veterans on that team.
Like the only other real old guy. And not that Lamar's a real old guy.
Right. Lamar's not even 30, but Kyle Hamilton, like they're ready to win. They have a win now roster. And so it's not really a reset, or it's a reset, but not a rebuild. And so and beyond that, I think Lamar will eventually win a Super Bowl, but even if he doesn't, there's a value to having an all-time great player when you're in the hunt. 95% of his seasons, you're in the hunt to win the Super Bowl. You may never get over the hump, but there's still a value to having that player and being a contender. The New York Giants, who just hired the coach the Ravens fired, they are hoping to get to where the Ravens are.
I totally agree. The only kind of but I would add to it is it's not Lamar for a bunch of nameless, faceless picks. If you were to do this, you are saying, we believe in Fernando Mendoza. And I understand that's a risk, but it's the best risk you can take is pick 1-1. So you wouldn't be entering the quarterback wilderness, you don't think. You would be saying, we have our guy, and as Drake Maye or Bo Nix or Caleb Williams are showing right now, you're never too young if the team around you is good enough to compete for a Super Bowl.
Year 2.
Jaden in year 1, and these guys in year 2. So I wouldn't look at it as the Ravens are like, okay, we're targeting 2030. I would look at it as the Ravens saying, we're adding a great pass rusher. We're just something, and the money piece of it is not a fun topic, but it's a real one as far as the added players you can have
But
Lamar's
don't you
contract
think they, and I
versus
know we got to go, they just said, the reports are that Lamar was ready for Harbaugh to go. So they essentially chose Lamar over Harbaugh. If you were looking to rebuild or whatever, why not keep Harbaugh?
And then,
if you're going to trade Lamar, why not keep Harbaugh to rebuild just like the Giants
I don't think they're
did?
going to do this, to be clear.
Yeah.
I just think
It was a bold prediction.
Bold. Time for a conference championship version of must win. This is team specific. We're doing 4, so you will be penalized if you're dilly-dallying.
Nice.
Patriots at Broncos, Sunday, wasting time. Okay. Patriots trying to complete an epic turnaround. Only 4 teams have gone from 4 or fewer wins to what Pringles calls the big game. Which Patriot, I'm sorry, Coach. I'll ask you the question then. Which Patriot is this a must win for? Since Greg won last week and you won the week before, the board is yours. You can pass or play.
So if I pass, will I have the last?
If you pass it to Nick, you would have it last, but you have to do
No, you wouldn't know because there's 4 of them.
Still have the
4, so you would be.
So if I pass, then I
You
would
should have figured this out beforehand.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to play.
That's a little
all right.
dilly-dally.
That's a clarifying question. That's a very important thing. I'm going to say this is a must-win for Robert Kraft.
Oh.
And here's why. So Robert Kraft is in a really unique situation. He went to a Super Bowl with Bill Parcells, so that was pre-Belichick, pre-Brady. Then they had the epic run with Bill and Tom, and that is remarkable in itself. So now here he is, after no Tom, no Bill, and he's got a chance to go to another AFC Championship game with his another Super Bowl with his 3rd head coach and new quarterback. And think about how many owners have been able to do that. And just think about the Dallas Cowboys, how they've been chasing just getting back to the game. So to me, this changes the equation for Mr. Kraft because it establishes him as a very unique owner versus the rest of his peer group.
If I can just add to that, Coach, also, he's nominated and they're voting on his Hall of Fame candidacy at the day before the Super Bowl when the Hall of Fame stuff is announced. So that is a very good point.
However,
listen, I'm just trying to help you out. Just add something there. I'm just a little surprised you didn't bring it up yourself.
I don't know how that works.
The answer is Drake Maye. He's been shaky. And Drake Maye was on a reputational free roll. The only scenario where he, in his 2nd year on the road in the AFC Championship game, could be in a position where if they don't win, it is a massive disappointment, is the exact scenario he found himself in, which is the other team's quarterback breaks a bone at the very end of the previous game to where we don't even see the backup, and now we look at it as, well, the Patriots have to win. They're a touchdown favorite. Mm-hmm. And I think most of us, Jordan Palmer notwithstanding, feel like if we are here Monday talking about a Patriots loss, it's not going to be because Jarrett Stidham lit up the Pats defense. It's going to be because the Broncos defense and that crowd and the noise and all of it got to Drake Maye and he turned the ball over and that he would have to wear it. So It's a very unique situation, but where the must win is for the Patriots quarterback.
Nick is right, but he went dark. I'm going light. All right?
Sure.
If Drake Maye wins this game and gets to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl, he's a made man.
Well, yeah.
He is a made man. The rest of his career, obviously, there's pressure because you want to continue to play well, continue to win. But he is relatively pressure-free. Aaron Rodgers had played 15 years after winning his Super Bowl, never got back to the Super Bowl, and he's all right. Because once you get that first Super Bowl, well, not for that.
Big moments get
not for
Aaron
that.
Rodgers.
He gets criticized for all his off the court field comments.
An excellent answer. Felt like that's a week early.
Yeah.
Just felt like it's a week early. Coach takes home the point.
Dark.
It's okay. It
light,
was good though.
And enlightened. Dark,
Other side of the ball,
enlightened.
Broncos posting home playoff game number 2 this year, where they've been outstanding. 14-1 in their last 15 games. Only loss was to the Prince. Nick, that's your guy. Who's this a must-win for on the Denver side?
Vance Joseph, get a head coaching job.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know if you guys heard a very cartoonish at times, Bill's press conference today with the owner and the GM. But one of the things they said is, we're going to take our time. Some of the people we want to talk to might still be coaching teams this coming weekend. Vance Joseph has been a head coach before. It was for the Denver Broncos. He loses that job. Sean Payton then adds, he's the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, if people don't know. Sean Payton then brings him in. Third game of his tenure, Dolphins scores 70 points. Yeah, reinventing football. People wanted Vance Joseph maybe have the quickest tenure of a D coordinator ever, less than a month. Now it's the strength of their team after last year being the strength of their team and his name being popping up for interviews for head coaching jobs. Again, the Broncos' path to victory is that defense being dominant after a little shaky game 2 as far as points allowed. If they win this game, I think he's a head coach in the league next year.
Great point.
A little long-winded.
A little bit.
Patrick Surtain. Here's why. He is a great cornerback. Defensive player of the year a year ago. Two all-pro teams already. But of the top 10 defensive back or cornerbacks ever, all right, according to FoxSports.com, 8 of them have won Super Bowls.
Really?
Yes. So to get his name in that group, which I think, has an argument, and he's certainly building one, he needs a Super Bowl.
Excellent.
And so, Patrick Surtain.
Excellent.
Again, it might be
and
a
no
week
extra
early.
stuff either.
Might be a week
no
early.
extra stuff.
Because again, winning this
the,
week is not.
Again,
does he think this is the Super Bowl?
huge party plan for Sunday.
And you guys are awesome. You've both made fantastic points about how good Denver's defense is. And we know that's the strength of the team. That's why it's a must-win for Sean Payton. So Sean Payton goes there, and he gets rid of Russell Wilson. He moves on, and he's in salary cap jail for, however long it's been. And then he drafts Bo Nix, and nobody believes that's going to work. Not nobody, but he believed it more than anybody, and he made it work. So now we fast forward to where we are today, and Sean's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 other NFC Championship games, but now we're in the AFC Championship game, and his quarterback is hurt. And the guy that he brought in day 1 free agency is his starter. And this problem is the problem that can be fixed by only one person, the person with the specialty of quarterbacks and offensive football, which is Sean Payton, who has a wonderful defense.
Wow. Believe it or not, going with Brew there.
What?
Thank you.
It was a little early, but I kind of liked it.
Exactly.
Wow,
Thank you, Wilds.
Head to Seattle. Sean McVay, a win away from his
Y'all
third
can be
Super Bowl
confused all you want.
as he tries to make it by winning 3 road games. Good news. If he wins this one, and a lot of people say this stat's a little bit early, you end up winning the Super Bowl unless you're Steve Grogan in the 1985 Patriots. Brew, this is yours now. Which Ram is this in?
Let's not make it too complicated. Matthew Stafford, all right? Even getting to another Super Bowl, all right? 2 Super Bowl appearances, let alone victories, in 5 years with the Rams, all right? We know who is a good head coach, offensive play caller, and probably an MVP, Hall of Famer, I think there's no doubt. All right, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and the what-if game would start. What if he had not spent 16 years or whatever it was in Detroit? How many Super Bowls would he have? What if he had always had a guy like McVay, like Brady had in McDaniels? What would have happened then? So the what-if game starts for Matthew Stafford. His legacy takes a huge bump if he wins this game.
Yeah, Brew, I'm with you on Matthew Stafford, but for a little bit different reason. So for years, coached against Matthew Stafford, and he was awesome. And traditionally, when you draft a quarterback of his caliber, he's able to elevate organizations, even the most dysfunctional organizations. And I could never figure out why it didn't work in Detroit. And so they think it's coaching. Well, he had multiple coaches when he's been there. Now he goes out to the Rams. He wins the Super Bowl. This year he's got the chance to be the MVP and potentially go to another Super Bowl. And it shows the league how important it's not just the quarterback, but it's a synergy between the quarterback, the head coach, and the organization.
Those are all good answers. Unfortunately, I have the best answer, even though I'm going to say a name, KW, of someone who you've never heard of, but you're about to.
Okay, great.
This is a must-win for Ben Katwika. You might be like, hey, Nick, who's that?
Well, maybe you could
Hold on,
pronounce
hey.
his name correctly.
Oh, that's a definite
Go ahead, Coach.
negative mark.
Ben Katwika?
I'm sorry, Katwika, pardon me.
Ben
Should we keep
Hold on,
going?
I have to.
Ben
I have to talk about this gentleman for a moment.
Yes, go ahead.
U.S. Army captain, helicopter pilot, piloted in Bosnia and Iraq. After his service to the country, he's like, you know what? Real passionate Army, football.
Correct.
Got into coaching. Got on Sean McVay's staff. He's assistant special teams coordinator. Not a super high level job, but still. And then what happened the last time the Seahawks played the Rams? This play changed the game. And what did Sean McVay do after that? The very rare for him, special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn. You're out.
Yep.
Mid-year firing, which McVay hates to do. Ben Katwika takes over interim special teams coordinator. Feels like if we get special teams locked up, we're going back to the Super Bowl. Everybody knows his name now. It's obviously the winning answer.
You're going to split the point.
Why? Because I mispronounced it?
Well, and then, but you also got roasted on air. So,
Well, can I also just say
Coach.
that Ben Katwika is the guy that I hired at the New York Jets.
What's the whole point?
Hold on a second. He was coaching JV football at West Point. I hired him, gave him his first job. We went to Afghanistan together on a USO tour. He flew Black Hawk helicopters.
I said all this. I just didn't hire.
He flew
I was
Black
talking
Hawk
to you
helicopters.
guys.
Hawk.
Unbelievable guy. Thank you for your service, Ben Katwika. You're doing a great job.
I didn't
You're
know
doing a
any of
great
this.
job
Coach
this
wants
week.
And because of my deep research, I got this
Coach
story
wants
on the
that
air.
point.
excellent job, Coach. You still will split the point. But that was amazing. I think I'm rooting for Rams now.
He is a great guy.
Final one. This is worth triple the points. Sean McVay. No, I already did Sean McVay.
Okay, dock yourself.
-1 for me. So now this is worth 2 points. What do you think of when you think of Seattle? Men throwing halibut and balanced football. Top 2 offenses and defense in the last 30 years. The Seahawks team, the 07 Patriots, the Colts, 2 Colts teams, and the 96 Packers. Okay, which Seahawk is this a must-win for?
I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
Yeah.
Who win it?
It is John Schneider. John Schneider has a chance
Executive.
he has a chance to solidify himself in terms of an exclusive GM club. Because remember, he makes a trade, trades out Russell Wilson, gets all those draft picks, 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5. So he does that. Okay, so after he does that, he brings in Geno Smith. They go to the playoffs. Nobody thought Geno Smith could play. They go to the playoffs with Geno Smith. They don't love it, and Pete goes 9-8. So Pete Carroll at 9-8, he moves on from him. He goes and gets a first-time head coach, brings him in, then is willing to sign Sam Darnold to a $100 million contract after 1 year of success. Sam Darnold now has a chance to totally redeem his career by going to the Super Bowl.
Is
Pretty
this
impressive.
must win or John Schneider's wiki page?
Well, I'm just saying.
Because the answer
You got a chance.
is Sam Darnold, and we all know it. And Brew's upset that he has to go last, and now he's thinking. He's like, do I pivot and say someone else like Kenneth Walker, or do I just say Nick's right, but for the wrong reasons? Because everyone knows it's Darnold. Darnold wins this game. No one can say he's going to go pumpkin mode anymore. He's a Super Bowl starting quarterback, former top 5
What if
pick.
he goes pumpkin in the Super Bowl?
Well, again, we're not at the Super Bowl, buddy.
Great
That
point.
we're right here.
Great point.
You get a trophy for this game. He would have won the conference championship. The Seahawks going through the guy who is likely to win MVP in Matt Stafford, doing it at home. It's obviously Sam Darnold.
tough
It's a
spot.
total reputation.
John
thing.
Schneider
Because
and Sam Darnold are
forgot,
off the board.
Nick forgot something. He's right about the trophy and the NFC.
Are you doing Sam Darnold? Please don't say you're
championship.
doing Sam
Well,
Darnold, 'cause we're gonna
the
go to break.
obvious answer is Sam Darnold, but here's why.
That's it.
Here's why.
Can't do that. You can't do
Bragging
that.
rights, Wiles.
Bragging rights?
Yes. The 3 quarterbacks he has been behind that he was jettisoned for. Baker Mayfield. Has he been this far?
No.
Brock Purdy. I get it. He has been to a Super Bowl, but Sam Darnold was backing him up. Now your backup beat you in the playoffs and is going to make the Super Bowl. And then J.J. McCarthy. They could have went and got Sam Darnold. They didn't want him. They didn't want him. They could have signed Sam Darnold. They chose J.J. McCarthy
why are
over.
we talking about
How's
J.J.
that looking like?
I don't know why
Because
we're talking
now every time Sam sees them in the offseason, season on the beach, wherever
Why
they
would
at.
you see
He has bragging rights.
Purdy walked off the
Repeat.
field.
It's old news.
Coach.
Three-peat.
He beat.
No,
Once again.
for doing a John Schneider biography?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.